Hello friends, I'm Amit, and in today's video we're going to look at how we can use free local LLMs to potentially replace ChatGPT. So let's get started. We'll be using OpenWebUI and Ollama. To set up OpenWebUI using Docker, simply visit this GitHub repo. I have outlined instructions on how to install OpenWebUI using Docker. So if you follow the setup process, you should end up with the interface something like this. Hopefully you are able to set up OpenWebUI using Docker based on the instructions provided in the GitHub repo. So let's look at the interface and how it is. So when we visit OpenWebUI web interface for the first time, you'll be presented with interface something like this. Let's see different components of this interface. It's similar to what we see in a lot of chatbots nowadays, especially if you compare this to ChatGPT. It's pretty similar. On the left side, we have option to create new chat. In this case, at the middle, top middle, we have a place where we can select different models. These are all the models pulled from Ollama. So I have so many models installed at the moment, and that's the reason I'm able to see these models. So you have to choose the model which is going to be suitable for your personal computer, because some of the models, if those are big enough, those will not perform, or they might not actually give you any sort of result whatsoever using OpenWebUI. On the right, we have user section as well as admin panel. Also, we have controls related to chat, where we can provide system prompts and other parameters. And in the middle, we have actually the prompt. In this case, we are testing out with Gemma 3 latest as our local model, and I'm just gonna hit test, and it's just gonna give us output as this is a test and it's ready to go. Now that we know OpenWebUI interface a bit better, let's see some of the features. So one feature we're gonna look at is web search. So why use web search? The reason we use web search is because these models, these local models or any models, they were trained based on the data maybe from previous year or prior to that. So these models do not have any memory, or they do not have any information about the latest events. Suppose we ask a model, how's the weather today? Then it's not going to give us any sort of information, or it's going to try to give us the information based on that duration or that time of the year for a given location, but that might not be accurate. So to avoid that, or to actually get around that particular problem, we can use web search. So let's try it. So in this case, I'm using the web search, which can be toggled just by clicking on this particular button in OpenWebUI. And we're gonna ask simply, what's the weather today in Washington, DC? So under the hood, it's gonna generate a search query, get the results, and Gemma 3 model is gonna give us output in a human readable format based on the result of those queries. So right now it's stating it's 72 degrees Fahrenheit in Washington DC, along with other things. So if we verify that, it's in, okay, so this is almost similar because this is in degrees Celsius versus degree Fahrenheit. But yeah, it's almost the same result that we got from OpenWebUI using web search. Second feature we're gonna look at is to transcribe YouTube videos. If you are new to LLMs and how to use LLMs, I recommend going through this particular video by Andres Karpathy, who is amazing and who has really good information about AI and AI related videos. Especially in this video, he actually goes into how he uses LLMs and it's very insightful and understanding how he uses LLM. So for this particular feature of OpenWebUI exploration, we're gonna just copy the YouTube ID, and then we're gonna go to OpenWebUI. We're gonna hit new chat, and in this case we're gonna use query parameter as YouTube. We're gonna paste in our YouTube ID, followed by we're gonna have another query parameter that's gonna be just the query, and we're gonna ask it, what is this video about, and give me some highlights. And I'm gonna hit enter. So what's happening under the hood right now is that particular YouTube video was completely transcribed, and if we look at this particular document which is attached to our chat, this contains all the text or all the transcription of that particular YouTube video, which is pretty long because it's 2+ hours of video content. And we can simply now ask questions based on that transcription of that YouTube video, which is very handy when it comes to dealing with videos which are very large in duration. So let's ask our model as to what this video is about. And rightly so, it's actually giving us all the different key highlights from that particular video. The next feature we're gonna look at is about using your voice to interact with the models, which is a very handy feature and which can be a lot helpful just to interact with the local LLMs. So to start that, we can just use this call button. As soon as I hit the call button, we're gonna be into a different interface where we can actually just ask questions and get to know answers to those questions. So simply in this case, I'm just gonna ask a fact-based question, and we should see the response from the model. What is the capital of Canada?
The capital of Canada is Ottawa. It's a surprisingly inland city, located on the Ottawa River. Do you want to know anything more about Ottawa?
No, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Have a great day.
So this is how we can interact using our voice to the local models, which is a really handy feature when it comes to just talking to local models and asking it a lot of different questions and getting the responses. Now that we explored some of the features of OpenWebUI, let's talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages of using OpenWebUI with local models. One huge advantage of using OpenWebUI using local models is the privacy aspect. We are not sending out any personal information to any third-party company or anything like that. So the complete interaction of our chats is remaining local to our system, which is a huge thing when it comes to privacy. Second advantage of using OpenWebUI using local LLMs is there is no cost associated with it. So long you have a system which is with a good configuration, then you should be able to run at least 3 billion parameter models pretty easily. Let's look at some of the disadvantages. The primary disadvantage, I would say, will be the performance aspect of it. As soon as we start to use around 8 billion parameter models or reasoning models, the performance on consumer grade systems is going to suffer significantly. And we won't be able to use models which are something like 32 billion parameters or more unless we have very high VRAM on our systems. So today we looked at how to set up OpenWebUI. We looked at OpenWebUI interface and its components. Then we explored 3 features of OpenWebUI, which were web search, YouTube video transcription, and the voice call or voice assistant features of OpenWebUI. And finally, we went over advantages and disadvantages of using OpenWebUI. So thank you for tuning in. I hope this content was helpful. We'll see you next time.